Oh, hello guys, welcome back. As you can see on the screen, guys, today my focus is on taxation, guys. That's what we focus on today, guys. Take your scribbler and take your pen, because here you're going to take notes that are going to help you to master this topic. Trust me, after watching this video, you'll not regret on your data and on your time. You'll forever know taxation just after this video, right? I don't want to waste a lot of time. I just want to let's go straight into what is happening with taxation, right? Today I come with my aims. I want you okay, aim of today's lesson. These are the things that I want you to be able to know about taxation just right after this video, right? Okay, first I want you to be able to calculate. You must be able to calculate. That is the first thing that we're going to talk about. You must be able to calculate gross income, right? Then the second thing, I want you to be able to calculate non-taxable income. Then the second thing, I want you to be able to calculate taxable income, right? Then the next thing that I want you to be able to do is to calculate tax. Let me see what must come first. To calculate tax relief, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the fifth one, I want you to be able to understand that here we are not going to calculate. You're going to understand what is a tax threshold. A tax threshold. Tax threshold. Then the last one, I want you to be able to calculate income tax, or we can call this pay as you earn, payee. You must be able to do this. All of these are the objectives of today's lesson, guys. Make sure your pen and your scribbler, you're with them, because you are definitely going to take notes that are going to help you so that you don't come to the video more often, right? Now, before, okay, let's come here, but we're going to tackle these items one by one. That's what I want you to be able to do, and in that order, so that we don't have to confuse things. You have to understand them in this order in order for you to know taxation, right? Our first one is calculate the gross income. Then the second one, we're going to talk about the non-taxable income. Number 3, we're going to talk about the taxable income. Number 4, we're going to talk about the tax reliefs. I think I must put S here because it's not one, right? And then number 5, we're going to talk about we're going to understand what is a tax threshold. right? Then number 6, we're going to talk about how to calculate the tax income or the payee. You pay as you earn, right? In this order, right? Okay. Before we tackle all those points, I just want to explain few things about the tax, right? Now, because these questions now they ask them, but it's not about calculation. It is just about understanding why do we have to pay tax, and then who do we pay tax to, who collects the tax, right? The tax is collected by government, but not government straight. Government has different departments. So the department that is responsible in collecting tax is SARS. Understand? So now they can ask, why are they collecting tax? The government collect tax so that they can provide public goods, they can pay for our school fees, those things, everything that is being provided by government. The most contributor of that money is coming from the tax. You understand? And no one, it's not like everyone pays tax, right? There are certain people that are working but they don't pay tax, and there are certain people that are working and then they pay tax. Then what you have to remember here is that everyone who is working might or might not be paying tax, right? So here that means we eliminate people that are not working. Understand? So they are not going to pay income tax. Then again, I'm saying with those that are working, there are two people there. There are those who are not going to pay tax but they are working, and there are those who qualifies to pay tax, right? So just put that in mind. I will explain further when we come to one of the concepts there, right? If you check here, our first concept that we're going to talk about here, we're going to talk about the gross income. Right. What is the gross income? It's simple, right? When we talk about the gross income, we talk about the basic income. Now, one might ask, what is a basic income? A basic income, guys, is just an income that you are obliged to get, right? For example, if I am working for government, in a year I qualify to get 12 incomes. So that is just a basic of what I must get as long as I am employed. That is just a basic income, right? Then we're gonna talk about this now. We're gonna talk about something else that is not basic, that is just an extra income, right? What do we talk about when we talk about the other the extra income? The extra income here, we can talk about something like bonus. Yes, we can talk about something that is bonus. Remember, it is also part of your what? Income. So if you check here, we talk about the income. So bonus is also part of your income, right? But you have to remember that bonus doesn't come every month. It comes once a year. Understand? So these two, they make us to have what? To have a gross income. It's going to make us to have the gross income. I don't want to talk about the deduction here. I don't want to talk about the net income because they are not part of this. They are not part of taxation. They are only part of the IRP5 form, when you do the financial document, when you are being asked with someone's pay slip or salary advice, they are important there, not here. Here we don't talk about the deductions and anything here. When you explain the gross salary here, just answer this question like this: a gross income, it is the basic income plus any extra income. You get your full marks there. If you don't get it, you must come back to my comment and just say you lied to us. Do that. Right. The next concept that we're going to jump on is, I'm sure that here now we understand everything here, because okay, let me now just do this. I don't want to rush. The thing is that I don't want to rush with this topic, because I know most learners, they want to know this topic with all their heart. So I will make sure that I'm not going to rush here. I want you to get all this concept correct. So for instance, that when we go to the next concept, you understand what is the topic, the concept that we talked about before, and then what is it that we're going to, you understand? So I don't want to go fast here. This was number 1. Right, let's go to number 2. Right, on our list here, the second concept here, we talk about the non-taxable income. Okay, non-taxable income, non-taxable income. All right, self-explanatory. This concept now, if you understand the rhythm of that word, it can sound, remember, this word means this, So let's look at this. We talk about the non-taxable income. So here, basically it means that part of this is not taxed. You understand? Remember, the only income that we have now is gross. And then what is inside the gross is basic plus extra. So here, now they say part of that is not going to be taxed. And what are those? I named them. Number 1, we have donation. Guys, donation comes in different ways. Let me explain what happens here. Let's say you are working, but now there is a charity that you are going to help. Remember, you're not benefiting anything from that charity. You only take part of your salary and you give it to that charity. So that amount that you have given to the charity, remember, everything now has to be taxed as a gross. So now they say, no, that amount that you gave, we want to separate the tax so that we don't tax the amount that you have donated, because you're just a helping hand, So such amounts, they are not taxed, right? So every time when you see a donation, just know that a donation is a non-taxable income. Then we move to the next one. Right. On the next one here, we're going to talk about pension. My pen is 39. Pension fund. Now, this pension fund, remember, everyone who is working, their employer take a certain amount, actually not just a certain amount, let me be specific, they take 7.5% of your gross, 75% of your gross. Then what do they do with this? They save it for you. No one is going to use this amount, right? So what are the benefits? Is that when you retire, this amount will be available for you when you retire. So now this amount is not taxed in the current moment, but when someone retires now, it's going to be another story. The lump sum, they're going to do something. Let me not talk about it. I want to focus about this one now. So now, this amount is not taxed, so that is why it falls under what? Non-taxable incomes. Right. So our non-taxable incomes, they are 2. Right. So, but there are people that are now, they talk about the UIF. So it's another story of another day. Just hit in the comment. I will tell you the story about the UIF. But how I teach you, I'm not including UIF as the non-taxable income. I will tell you the story about it. We are not supposed to write it under the non-taxable income. Now we move. We go to, okay, so non-taxable, let me use the red one. Let me use the red one. Non-taxable income is equals to donations plus pension fund. That's why I said take your book and a pen. We're going to take some notes. Make sure that you capture everything so that when we move on, everything is written down, everything is being captured, so that I want you to have this, because I'm sure that by the end of this, everything will be clearer now. Now, what do we talk about here now? We look at concept number 3. On the list on number 3, we have taxable income. Now, I'm not even going to now. Remember how many incomes that we have talked about now. We talked about the gross income. We talked about the non-taxable incomes. Guess what is going to be the taxable income? Our taxable income, let me use the red one. Our taxable income, now we talk about gross. This is the income that one must get. You understand? Now, before they tax you, they say no. We are now going to remove your donation and your pension fund. We must not tax them. They are non-taxable income. These are minus. Hope everyone can see that. Right. So our taxable income is equals to gross minus non-taxable. So whatever that we have talked about here, you're going to take this and you subtract this. You subtract the non-taxable income. Then what do you get? You get your taxable income. Now, before I go to the next point on our list, I want to say a few things about the taxable income. How is remember now we know that the gross income, it is important for us in taxation to be able to calculate the taxable income, right? Non-taxable income, how is it important? It is important for us so that we can calculate the taxable income. So we have used 2 concepts to get 1 concept, right? So now we are here at taxable income. What do we do now? I want to give you a way forward, right? The way forward with the taxable income, the importance of taxable income is to identify tax bracket. Nothing more, nothing less. Right. Then the second thing is to calculate income tax. You see here, I'm talking only about the taxable income. This taxable income now, it's going to help us to identify the tax bracket and also to calculate the income tax. All right, I hope you captured that perfectly. So let's move on to the next concept. Right, concept number 4. I forgot what is concept number 4. Let me quickly go there and check. Concept number 4. Okay, tax relief. Tax relief. Right. In Meslit, I don't know in SARS how do they calculate, but at SARS, they have a lot of tax reliefs there, because now the concept is open for them, but ours is just closed. We only focus on 2 things actually. In Meslit, we only focus on 2 things, on 2 tax reliefs, right? The first one, we talk about the rebates. We talk about tax rebates. This is problem when I have to write A. We talk about the tax rebates, and then we talk about the medical credit. Medical credit, Now, okay, let me start with the rebate. The rebate, now the government says no. We have to relieve these people, You'll never be anywhere they say calculate the tax rebate, unless if you're going to add the rebates. But how the amount is calculated is something else that SARS knows how to calculate that. They'll never ask you to do that. Ne? So now, when we talk about the rebate, the government now says we are going to relieve this employee of ours so that this employee doesn't have too much tax to pay, right? So rebate, everyone qualifies for. As long as you are working, you qualify for rebate. We only have 3 types of rebate. We have primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now, when we talk about the rebate, they are 3, as I mentioned, right? So if you qualify for primary, you don't qualify for secondary and tertiary. But if you qualify for secondary, it means you qualify for primary and secondary. And then how do we know that you qualify for a certain tax rebate? We look at your age. Your age is the one that will tell us that no, this person is qualifying for primary only, this person is qualifying for secondary and tertiary. If your age is within the range of secondary rebates, it means automatically you qualify for primary. Now let's talk about if someone, the age ranges in the tertiary. If someone's age ranges in tertiary, you basically qualify for tertiary, secondary, and primary. That means you qualify for 3 tax rebates. I leave it there. Then let's talk about the medical credit. The medical aid credit, guys, I want to give you the knowledge on how these examiners are, right? The moment you see that the medical aid, the medical credit is, they give you the amount, they say 5,000. That is not a tax relief. the tax relief of the medical credit, it comes from the table. You understand? Now let me give you an example. You see, the government employee, they are only relieved from tax based on the medical aid credit, provided that they use GEMS. This is an example that I'm giving you. Provided that they use GEMS. So the amount that they are paying for GEMS, they are not going to tax that amount. Okay, they are going to tax it, but at the end they are going to subtract the tax amount of that. I mean, the amount that is going to be subtracted. Why? The GEMS is connected to the government, so they are relieving a certain amount from the employees only if they are using the GEMS. And I didn't say GEMS is only medical aid credit that we have. We have other companies. Therefore now, if I am using a certain company that is not GEMS, that amount of medical aid that I'm going to pay, they are not going to relieve the tax of that amount. They are not going to relieve that amount. Why? Because that is not a medical aid credit for GEMS. You understand? But here in Meslead, they will never tell you that this is GEMS or this is another company. You know, they are not going to tell you that. Now listen to how you're going to get this question correct. They must tell you that John or whoever, he is aiding himself with 2 children. Then how are you going to get the information? You are basically going to use the table from the taxation that you have. Let me show you an example here. I think I have one. Right, the information, you will only get it here. Look at this. This is the medical aid credit that I'm talking about. If you're not going to use this, then we are not talking about the medical aid credit. You understand? We're talking about something else that is not a tax relief. I can talk for the whole hour here now. Let's go back. Then now, where do we go? We must see point number 5. What is point number 5? We must go to point number 5. Let's quickly go to point number 5. Right, tax threshold. I think I remember it. We are getting there. Tax threshold. Right, I'm just going to explain. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to write here, because this one, it doesn't need me to write or to calculate. Why am I saying that? Guys, in Meslead, you never calculate the tax threshold. But what is a tax threshold? This is the minimum income. Oh, I have to write now. Now I see that I have to write, because I said you must have your scribble, you know. Is the minimum. Let me do this. Okay. Is the minimum income that one must earn before they can tax you. Alright, simple. You never use the tax threshold. The only way that you can use the tax threshold is to see that, is this person qualifying to pay tax? Does it? Right, so we don't use any tax threshold to calculate anything. We only see if this person qualifies. So there is a minimum income that you must earn before you can be taxed. You understand? So if you are earning below your tax threshold, they cannot earn you. And then how do we see the tax threshold? We use the age, like tax rebate. They say, okay, you are between 65 and 70, you know, you must earn at least 100,000 per year. So that means now your income for that year must be 100,000. So if your income is 95,000, there is no tax that you're going to pay because you are earning less than your minimum tax threshold. We move. Then we go there now. Now we go there now. Number 6. Income tax or payee. Yeah, here you need to listen very attentively here. Income tax or pay as you earn. Right? Correct. Right. Here we're going to use the steps to calculate the tax income or the income tax, right? So I have a lot of steps, but there are only 6, you know, there are only 6. Okay, let me see the beautiful color that I can use. Okay, I just got blue. Right, let's start with step number 1. When you calculate the income tax now, the first step that you must do is a must. You identify the tax bracket. You identify tax bracket. And how are you going to identify the tax bracket? I'm opening the bracket here. I'm saying by the use of taxable income. To identify the tax bracket, there is only one thing that you're going to use to identify that tax bracket, and is the what? Is the taxable income. If you go to taxable income right now, there is something I said about taxable income. To do what? The importance of this taxable is to identify the tax bracket. This is the only amount or the only income we use to identify the tax bracket, right? Now, what do you do after identifying the tax bracket? This is step number 2. Yes, you have identified the brackets, but now let's go down and see what is it that we have to do. Right. Second thing that we have to do now, we have to rewrite rates of tax. Rates of tax. Okay? Rates of tax for the identified or what am I doing? For the identified tax bracket. If you set bracket number 4, now what do? You rewrite. Remember the bracket is written there on your question paper. So what do you rewrite? You rewrite the rates of tax. Let me give you an example because I have a question paper here. Here, the rates of tax I'm talking about this. You're going to rewrite this. If your bracket here was 4, then your rate is this. You rewrite everything the way it is here. You know, you rewrite everything the way it is. You don't change anything. You just rewrite this, and I will tell you what you do after that. Right? Now, that is only step number 2. Then step number 3. Step 3. What do? Here I've got a lot of information here. It's very important step. But I'm not saying all of these steps, they are important, but this one is more important, you know. Right. Step number 3, you substitute. You substitute only the word taxable income with the amount you used to identify the bracket. Right. And the word above with minus or subtraction. So now in step number 3 is very crucial, I said, but what do we do here? Simple. We only substitute what? The word taxable income. What do we substitute this with? With the amount you use. Remember, here we use the taxable income. So the amount that you have used to say, okay, this amount, it is falling between these two amounts. You get it? So it's the amount that now you're going to write here. And then you also subtract the word above with minus. So we're no longer going to have the word above. Now we're going to have a subtraction. Then we're going to have that amount at the end, right? So without wasting any time, let's go to the next step. We go to step number 4. Step 4. Pay attention to this step, because now we're going to do a clear example following those steps, right? Now, step 4. What do we do? The first thing that you're going to do, you change your percentage to decimal. You change your percentage to decimal and follow BODMAS. And follow BODMAS, right? So what does BODMAS say? The BODMAS that we're going to work on, that formula, I call that a formula, right? What are we going to do? We brackets first. We're going to subtract what is in the brackets first. You understand? We're going to work inside the brackets, right? Then after adding, or after working on the brackets, what do we do? Then multiply with your decimal. Remember, now you no longer have a percentage, you have a decimal. So now you're going to, after working inside the brackets, you will get one amount. Then that amount, what do? You multiply with your decimal, right? Then after multiplying with your decimal, what do? You then add. You've multiplied now. So now what do? You add. Remember, everything here is still step number 4, right? Then you add. Then after adding, the amount you get, is income tax before tax reliefs. Before tax relief, and does it. Then step 5, what do? We subtract. What do we subtract? Tax relief. How many tax relief we have? We have 2. We have tax rebates and we have the medical credit. But the medical credit, remember, no one is forced to do the medical aid. If you don't do it, you don't do it. So here we work with the information given. So if you don't see that, don't force it to be there. I'm emphasizing on this one. If your medical aid credit is not there, don't force it to be there. You understand? It's a choice of a person that do they want the medical aid credit or what, Now after subtracting here, you're going to get what we call an let me do this. You're going to get the annual income tax. And what does the annual mean? It means per year. That means the amount that you're going to get after subtracting your tax relief. Now you're going to get your annual income, the yearly income tax that you must pay. So what if they say the question was about step 6? If the question was say calculate the monthly income tax, then what do? You then okay, I get it. Why it doesn't want? Let's add a page. Step 6. What is happening now? Step 6. We then we divide annual income tax by 12. Then what you get? You get your monthly income tax. Then that's it. Remember your question now is 2 things. They can either stop, they want you to stop here, or they can want you to stop at step number 5. They can want you to stop at the annual income at the annual income tax, right? Now let's step on it now. Let me move myself. Where can I move myself? Okay, let me move myself here, right? Because I like to see myself, Yes, right. Here are the questions. Because the topic is about taxation, I'm not worried about these questions. Let me see what I am given here. Let's see what we are given first, right? Let's check. They say Marius, who is 64-year-old and an annual taxable income of 551,762 rand for the 2019-2020 tax year. During the 2019-2020 tax year, Marius was not a member of the medical fund. So here we know that now we don't have 2 tax relief. Already the information is telling us he was not part of the medical, so he only have 1 tax relief, right? If they ask us to calculate the income tax, then the table below shows the tax table. This is the most important table because here we can get our bracket also with the tax, the rate of tax, right? Now what is given after the tax rebates? So these are the tax relief, the first one, and the second one is the medical credit. But here with Marius, we can see that he is not part of the medical aid. So are we going to use this to calculate the income tax? The question is simple. No, we are not going to use it because he's not part of the medical fund, right? Okay, let's jump on to question number 1. Identify which tax bracket Marius falls in based on his taxable income, right? So we check now. Do we have to calculate the taxable income? If we have to calculate the income, the taxable income, it means that now we have to look for a gross salary and the non-taxable income. But now, if you check here correctly, they gave us the taxable income. So what do we have to do now? We just have to go to the table and identify the bracket because this is the amount that we need to identify the bracket, right? So when we check here, it's 551. So when we check, it's not between 1 and 195. Is it between 195 and 305? No. Is it between 305 and 431? The answer is no. Is it between 423 and 555? The answer is yes. If you check, this amount is more than this amount, but is less than this. That means it's in between here. So our answer here, number 1, the answer here is going to be bracket 4. Guys, don't try to be a star here. They said which tax bracket. This is not a bracket. This is the rate of tax. They say, if they say which rate of tax, you must come here and write this the way it is, right? Then this is the taxable income, the range. Let me call this a range, the range. This is when now we identify which bracket we use. One, the taxable income. All this amount here, they are taxable income, but they are given in the form of a range. So you must check. Yours is between this range. You understand? So the tax brackets is only one. You're going to say tax bracket 1, tax bracket 2, tax bracket 3, or tax bracket number 4. So ours is in tax bracket number 4. All right. Then now we look at question number 2. Right. Question number 2, they say calculate the amount of tax Marius must pay for the 2019-2020 tax year. Simple. All right. We go back to our steps. Step number 1. I still remember. I'm just going to say step number 1. I'm not going to write what was all about step number 1. But step number 1 says we identify the bracket. So which bracket is bracket 4, right? So let's check the second step so that you follow what I do. What do? We rewrite rates of tax for the identified tax bracket. So which bracket did we identify? We identified bracket number 4. So what is the rate of tax? These are the rate of tax, right? It says 100,263 plus 36% of the taxable income above for this. Let's rewrite it because the step they say we rewrite step 2. So it says 100,263 rand ish. This is taking my time, 263 plus 36% of taxable income above. We rewrite everything the way it is above 423,000 300. Then we go to step number 3. That was all about step number 2. We have completed step number 2. So now we go to step number 3. What does step number 3 says? So that you go with me here, we substitute only the weight taxable income and the weight above, right? So we don't, do we substitute this? We don't substitute it. We write it the way it is. Do we substitute this? No, we just leave it the way it is, right? Then now we put in the brackets, right? So we check this. How much was the taxable income that we have used? Remember, we say we substitute with the amount that you used to identify the tax bracket. So the amount was 551,762. Then the weight above we substitute it with minus. Then we write this the way. Do we substitute this amount? No, we just write it the way it is. 423,300. Then we close the brackets. Step number 4. If you checked our step number 4, it said we start by what? We work in the brackets. Now step 4, we change your percentage to decimal and follow BODMAS. Brackets first, then multiply with your decimal, you then add, you know. So let's do that. Let's quickly do that. So step number 4, you're going to do this. We say 100,263 plus 0.36. That is the decimal of 36% into what? Let's subtract those two amounts, right? 551,762 minus 423,300, which is equals to 128,462. Then we close the bracket. We are still at step number 4, right? We have subtracted in the bracket, right? We have worked with our brackets. Now let's check the BODMAS. Now we must multiply this by the decimal. So we're going to multiply by 0.36, which now gives us 46,246 rand 32 cent. You know, we have subtracted, multiplied, then now we add these two amounts. So 100,265 plus 46,246 and 32 is equals to 146,500 and 101,263 plus 46,246,32. all right, we get 146,509 rand 32 cent. Then the amount that we get, if you check our step number 4, it says you get, the amount you get is income tax before reliefs, you know. So it means this amount here is what? Is the income tax before tax reliefs. So are we asked to calculate the income tax before reliefs? No, we need the income tax for the year 2019-2020. Then we must proceed. Now is a must that we proceed to step 5. Then what do we do in step number 5? We subtract the tax reliefs. So the tax there, it was 146,509,32. Then we're going to check now. Remember we said already the medical is not part of our reliefs, right? So we are only going to subtract the rebate. How old is Marius? He is 64-year-old, right? So he only qualifies for primary, because if you look at secondary, it says 65 and older, but when you come here it says 75 and older. That means this one it stopped at 74. You look at people from 65 up until 74, right? Then now, is this person within this range? No, but we can see that he is less than 64. That means it's only talking about primary rebate. So we're only going to relieve him with 14,220. 14,220. So how much do we get? 14,220. So we get 132,000. 132,289,32. Right, what do we call this amount? This is an annual income tax. Is this what we are looking for? Yes, we are not looking for the monthly. That means we stop at step number 5. That is how I made it easy. I hope you got your notes there. Right, I don't want to explain any further, because now if I explain any further, now I will be playing with your mind, so I don't want to play with your mind, right? Then number 3, Marius is considering joining a medical fund. He plans to include his wife and 2 grandchildren. Determine the total monthly credit he would qualify for if he joined a medical fund. Remember now, this comes after, yeah. So now he wants to join. So let me give you the tricky yana here. You must be careful. He wants to join, so automatically he is the medical aid holder, So already we have one member, that is him, Then that will be another member here, the wife, and we're gonna have 2 grandchildren. So how many people are in that medical aid? Him, wife, 2 grandchildren, So now let's check the table. What does the table says? The main member. So he's going to pay how much? What was this? 310? 310, yeah. He is going to pay 310 for himself, and then the first dependent. Who is the first dependent? It's going to be the wife. So how much will he pay for his wife? First dependent. He's going to pay 310 as well, Then any other member, each additional dependent. So any other person, even if he can add extra more people, let's say maybe he wants to add 10 people now, all those apart from his wife, he is going to pay 209 for each member. So that means for one grandchild he will pay 290, and for the other one he will pay 290. Now we check the equation. Now the equation is looking for the monthly medical credit. Look at this, look at the top here. It says the medical aid credit per month. That means this 300 is per month, not per year, is per month. So he will pay 310 for himself per month, and he will pay 310 for his wife per month. Then he will pay 209 for the first grandchild, and then he will pay again 209 for the second grandchild. So all in all, he's going to pay 310 plus 310 plus 209 plus 209. So all in all, per month he is going to pay 1,308 for the medical aid credit. Then that is the end of today's lesson, Right. Thank you guys. If you have anything, make sure that you comment there, ask me anything that you want to know, or if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube videos. There is a video about my introduction. It's about the introduction. You will get my numbers there, and then how to get hold of me. Right. Thank you for watching this. I wish you well, and please make sure that you like and then you subscribe to my channel, so that every time I make a video, you're the first person to know that the video is on. Remember that the videos are all about education, you know, about maths lit, you know. So make sure that you subscribe, you click that subscribe button. You also like my videos.